Welcome everyone. This is your host once again, Shailesh, bringing you from New Zealand World News, a life journey of real people, real connections under this theme that we have been doing for a while now. And we bring various people from all walks of life. So today, this is something that I have done outside the square, outside the box, because this is for the first time in New Zealand. We are bringing from Bollywood that people understand, but I'm not going to say Bollywood because this is Maharashtra state, which is one of the prominent state of India, which is responsible and also prominent for obvious for many, many reasons. But India's shape and formation is all about the Maharashtra state that has been instrumental in shaping up India's future and India's independence and after independence. But today, from that same land, I have got a personality. And I don't know how to introduce it. For the first time, when I met and we had a good chat, and I was overwhelmed and overjoyed that this is a personality that I need to have a life journey discussion on this. And what more than he said yes, and I was here today to start for the first time in New Zealand, the actor that we all know from various films in his life, through his life, and films people generally watch, but Marathi films, and for all the listeners who are Maharashtrians, who are Marathi, they will understand and they will know his movies, but also there are non-Marathis who have seen his movies. So it's not that only Marathi. So today I have the pleasure today to invite actor, painter, artist. There are so many names I can name it, but let's make it a human that has come to this show to share his life experiences, which I'm sure to all the listeners who will take something leaf out of this. So Sandip Kulkarni is the name of the actor and the person who I have invited today. So welcome Sandip ji. Welcome Sandip Kulkarni. I am really
Namaste. Hi.
I'm really honored to invite you and to talk about your life journey.
Well,
So,
it's my pleasure too.
yes, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. So let's get into a little bit of it, but let me just, because if I introduce, I'll not do a justice, but I will try my best to do the justice by introduction, because for many people who don't know, before he started acting, he was a artist by passion, you can call it, or by liking, you can call it. When you are starting your journey, you have got some or the other passion or some or the other you wanted to do. So let's understand from him his life journey that we are going to start today. So hear from him how he started his life journey, what was the mindsets, and what was he before becoming an actor? How did he come to this stage where he is today? Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, Shailesh. So, to start with, now I can figure out that I had always followed my passion and always listened to my heart. So, when I was in 10th, 11th, I was very good at drawing, and my textbooks and all used to be filled with drawings and all.
Right.
I was okay in studies. I was good, not bad, but very good at drawing and visualization and all that. And then I figured out that there's a very good prestigious institute called Sir JJ School of Arts.
Right.
And
Yes.
I took admission there and I did my fine arts. I got a very good coach, professor called Prabhakar Kolte, who introduced me to, how, how is an artist being made? I mean, because artist is not just
Correct.
reading, artist is not, so it's like, all your senses, how do you keep it open and how do you kind of take it in, right? You absorb through your senses. So
Absolutely.
whether it is music, whether it is films, whether it is, all, even sports and whatever. So different experiences really build you up as an artist. That is what I've discovered, and that is what my coach made me discover. And when I was painting, and I was doing quite good. I was almost like decided that I'll go to Paris and have a small studio there and set up because all the isms and all the new things come from Paris.
I see.
in the world of painting. That's what I at that point of time.
Mhm.
And then I had completely decided to, after my college, and I also had a scholarship there. And then, meantime, I was watching all world cinema. So we painters group, we used to go to what the film festivals. We were a part of a film club, and
Correct.
watched world cinema.
Mhm.
And suddenly, the cinema just kind of awed me, because cinema is a medium where all kind of arts culminate together,
Absolutely correct.
whether it is writing, whether it is music, and all that. And so it's really fascinated me. And actually, that took over.
Right.
And then, then I started getting deep into what is this medium about. I did small appreciation courses. I was almost about to go to FTI or NSD or whatever. Then, luckily, I met Pandit Satyadev Dubey,
Mhm.
who at that point of time was a big mentor and coach, a big
Mhm.
theater person. He was the
Right.
one who actually kind of what? I mean, Amrish Puri is made by
Right.
him. Amol
Right.
Palekar was made by him.
All the theater great
Many,
actors.
yeah. Even
Mhm.
Nasiruddin Shah, when he came from Delhi, he did
Correct.
theater with him. So he was the man, and he was a very tough master, taskmaster. But
Mhm.
it was a gut feeling that if I could survive with him for 2 3 years, 3 years, 4 years, I'm sure I'll get something. And that's what really happened.
But how
And
did you get that passion? Were you always from the childhood wanting painting was one of your main thing that you liked more, or you developed after a certain
yeah,
school or college time?
so basically, I believe that you keep on discovering and finding your foot in life, doing
Correct.
various things.
Mm.
And obviously, painting was my passion, and it's still my passion. But right now, I couldn't, address myself as a painter, because painter needs that kind of continuous concentration
Concentration.
and
Yes.
continuous process, because it's a process.
Mm.
See, each painting is just a result of whatever is happening in your mind or
Correct.
whatever you want to come out, but
Mm.
it's a continuous process. And as an actor or as a creator, it's a reverse process, because as an actor, you already have absorbed and you come out with it.
Correct.
But
Correct.
as a painter, it's a reverse process. Like, you kind of take it in, it's there, it churns, and then it comes in the canvas.
Comes in.
That this is what even Dubeji told me, and Dubeji kind of made me discover that these two are two different processes.
Mhm.
You can carry on and keep them parallelly, but
Right.
many a times what happens is, maybe if you cannot have the extra edge or excel if
Right.
kind of keep your both your legs on two bricks or two stones. But then he said the choice is up to you. But till then, I had already kind of
Mhm.
captivated by theater and films and all that. So I had already made a choice.
Correct.
But as I said, this as a lifetime, as a painter or as an artist, I
Mm.
have a great visual ability, which
Mm.
maybe many actors don't have,
Correct.
because I had the training earlier and I had that discipline.
Mm.
So whenever a story is read or a character has been described, I can visually imagine it
Right.
immediately,
Right.
right?
Right.
Even that lot of observations and keep on happening, because this is what again a painter's discipline is about.
Right.
So this had helped me a lot as an actor. So when I was very young, when I did, in fact, all my first films are Hindi films. In fact, my first film is with Sham Benegal called Mamo.
Yeah.
Second was with Govind Nehlani called Hazar Chaurasi Ki Maan.
Mhm.
Third was Is Raat Ki Subhani with Sudhir Mishra, and
Correct.
then Shool. And so, because I was doing a lot of Hindi theater, and these directors and this producers used to come and watch plays, and that's
Mhm.
how I got this Hindi films initially. And
Mhm.
at that point of time, Marathi films were those, what do you say, those straight comedy films,
Correct.
which I would never thought that I would be part of it. But the surprisingly, this new script came called Shvas.
Yeah. Yes.
And Shwas was a very nice culminative effort of everybody,
Mm.
writer, director, actors. It was a process. So even before shoots, we did a lot of process, which goes to make a good film. But we never thought that it will receive the Golden Peacock Award or it will be an official entry for the Oscars at that
Correct.
point of time.
Mm.
We just, kind of straight away, very, what do you say, very genuinely kind of got into it. And but as I said, because I was a painter, now I was very young when I did a very successful oncologist
Okay.
at that point of time. See, right now I have a lot of experience. I've seen life, but when
Right.
I was very young, and
Yeah, that's why.
obviously, like
Yeah,
ah,
that is what is trigger. What was the trigger point to do all these things at such a young age and then try and make an attempt to do this? Did you had enough support, or did you think that you had already good support? That's why you were able to do it, or you were struggling to do that, but still made your own kind of
no,
doing?
no, I was definitely struggling because that point of time, one is there was nobody from my family who was into
Right.
this.
Okay.
And that point of time, there are not many television channels also
Mm,
where one could, I mean, some 15 years back, there are a lot of channels. Now, though,
correct.
OTT is also there.
Correct.
OTTs have also come. But at that point of time, there are not much avenues. It was only theater films,
Mm,
and that's it. I mean, and Doordarshan.
correct.
But
Correct.
as I said, I was very fascinated by film as a medium.
Mhm.
So as an artist also. So I
Correct.
took that risk. I mean, my parents also didn't know what this boy is going to do at
Mm,
that point
mm.
of time.
Yeah.
But luckily, I think as I said, these three words which I always use is
Uh-huh.
passion, perseverance,
Mm,
and experience. So
absolutely.
these three words make your life, and this is what I have also experienced.
Mm,
That one has to have that passion, and then you have to pursue it till you get the right people, till you get the right entries or whatever, So that is, and that's why you need a drive,
mm.
because to sustain, because it's not a job that you have to
Yeah,
get up
correct.
and you get a
Mm,
monthly salary and you are quite. So
correct.
it's like you have to push yourself. You have to kind of every day get up and say, okay, do
So,
this, that,
so
right?
how did you motivate yourself to do that? Basically, this is something
As I
very
said, that the
challenging.
motivation was already there
Mm,
because I was already
mm,
fascinated, carried, and
mm,
it's like wanted to do anyhow.
correct.
So yeah, so that was almost like
Mm.
what do you say, a war front soldiers kind of a
Yeah,
mindset.
mindset.
Right?
Correct, correct. And
And
that's
as you earlier, as we discussed, that I have to build that mindset
absolutely.
because yeah, initially many a days, or there are times
Mm,
where there's no work, or
correct,
and
correct.
you feel suddenly, oh, what am I? But then you keep on reading, and then you are a painter, then you
Mm,
want to do your sketches,
yeah,
read a lot, or watch films, watch plays, meet people, because finally, as an actor or as a creator, finally it is, you have to gather those experience to come
correct.
out as an individual art, to build that individuality as an artist.
Yeah, so I want to ask you here a very sensitive but very kind of asked questions all the time. Is like people think when actors act, they become successful, they make money, they have got everything, then they want to do that. But when actors is a profession where, or acting is a profession where you don't get, as you said rightly, that's what I was coming to, you don't have jobs most of the times, many times, and then you are lucky you will get it or not get it. It all depends on the whole circumstances and the environment that you are in. Monetary becomes like in today's world also, monetary becomes, and even in those days or any time, monetary becomes like a main motivation to do that. But you suffer because you don't earn money for many times. How did that challenge aspect that you cope with or managed with in terms of your profession, choosing a profession that may not fetch you, that may fetch you, but you don't know when it comes to finances and money. But when it comes to passion, art, satisfaction, peaceful, yes, that is something that you like and you want to do it and pursue it. As you said, perseverance is one of the key thing as well in that. So
Yes.
how did you manage that aspect during that struggling times when you didn't had to make that mindset stronger and resilient. That is something
Yeah.
which I'm fascinated about to talk to you.
Yes.
How
Yes.
did you do that?
So, as I said, one is you're really, I mean, that is what I tell, or that is what I, kind of not preach, but kind of speak out,
Mhm.
that is discover your passion, because that gives you happiness. Because even if you don't have, or many a times if you're not in a situation where
Mm.
actually, you're not getting what you really want to get, but still you're happy, or still you're at it because that passion is still there. That passion keeps you going,
That
right?
keeps you going.
Because you then know that, okay, this makes me, I mean, this is what I'm here for, or this is what makes my life.
Mm.
So then you sustain, you keep going on, and then there is a drive to kind of, and one thing is very important is you have to make yourself capable enough.
Sure.
Yeah,
Mm.
because you cannot, nobody is born as an actor. It is
Correct.
again an awareness. You build up those skills, you
Mhm.
build up those techniques, and then you kind of, and then you keep, that keeps you lifelong.
Mm.
Because if I hadn't have that kind of training, as I said, with Pandit Satyadev Dubey, because I had done a play with Nasir, and there was a big play which was done. There was Nasir, I mean, they were all seniors. I was just joined
Yeah.
Satyadev Dubeyji's group, and there was a
Mm.
play called Andhayug, which was happening, which was one of the very literate kind of a novel called Andhayug, written by Dhanvir Bharti. And there was Nasiruddin Shah, there was Amrish Puri, there was Mohan Bhandari, there was Akash Koran, all these actors, experienced actors. So
Mhm.
I used to observe, I used to watch, and Dubeji also used to do us a lot of exercises with them and all that. So once you are at it, you're gaining those experience, you're gaining those techniques. So
Correct.
you're building your capabilities also.
Mm.
So
Absolutely.
what happens is when you get a chance, you hit a six or you hit a four, right?
Mm. But to
Otherwise, you get it, and if you don't kind of can't, I mean, if you're not capable, that also is a not a, yeah.
Mm.
So I think it works. I mean, it's in any profession, any work, because finally you sustain because you are capable of doing it, right?
So
And
one other thing is like what Sandip Kulkarni is when it comes to talent, skills that you develop, and when you have that passion and motivation, drive, as you said, you already have that, but then you also have to develop skills to move forward and move further. What was your life like at that time that you had to develop certain skills and keep developing for your drive, for your motivation, that why you are today is because of that?
yeah, so one is, as any human, I
Mm,
also had my lows.
correct.
I also had those low moments where, or I felt, I mean, am I in the right
Mm,
path? Am I
yeah,
on the right? So this is something which is very human. And I think this happens with anybody or
and-
any profession, anyone. This also happened with me. But as I said, finally, I overcame with, this is what my life is about. I
mm,
mean, this is what, so in fact, as we were also discussing, or many people, once they find out that, oh, I was a painter, or I have
yeah,
done
yeah,
my
yeah. Mm,
painting as a, so then there was this very experienced and very intelligent critic after my film Shwas and Dombili Fast, after especially when Dombili Fast had
yeah,
again got international awards and all that. So
absolutely.
he asked me, he said, you have done your painting, you have, been kind of given your 5 years, and you have been a, so then why did you choose this? Is
Mm,
this because this gives you glamour, or is this because this gives you that kind of recognition or face?
mm,
I said, not really. But then at that point of moment, I was even, asking myself also, because I had already gone through it, because both were my passion. As I
mm,
said, painting also is my passion, but I
yeah.
don't paint right now because I can't have that kind of consistency.
Mm,
But uh, so both being my passion, so I was also asking myself, or when I had to choose where
mm,
I had to be
mm,
for the kind of for the rest of my life, or the, I mean, you have to decide, I mean, how people will, and what, because of what people should know you.
mm,
At that point of time, it was very difficult for me also. It was a great dilemma.
mm,
But then this I discovered that I also like to be very interactive. Painter is a very loner. He is like a writer, right? He is in his own
In
space.
his
He
own
has
space.
confines himself.
Mm.
But I'm more of a very interactive person. I like collaborative art. I
Mm.
like more of, so that's what film is about and theater is about.
Correct.
Also, I finally discovered that, okay, this fascination or this thing came to me because I want to live many lives in one life.
I was about to say that you are living many lives through the films, but you are also living in real life also through
Yeah.
lots of different things that you
So
do.
if I hadn't been an actor, I wouldn't be Madhav Apte, like in Dombili
Yeah.
Fast, or that oncologist in
So,
on
so
so many different, or even now Mahatma Phule that I'm doing.
yeah,
So
I will
this
come to
all
that.
came to me because I'm an actor.
Hmm.
So this is all enriching me a lot, apart from earning fame or
Hmm.
money or whatever.
So changing professions from time to time or understanding your liking from time to time, how would you describe that for the listeners who are listening that, they feel in that dilemma? Should I do this? Should I don't do that? Whatever. How do you make those transitions and what's your mindset to that people have got like a fear, I will not achieve this, then I will not be recognized or I will be falling on my face. That kind of fear is always there when they try new things, but you
Hmm.
seem to be like adapting and making those changes whenever, whatever the way you want. It's normal for you, but is it normal for other humans also to take that path? What would you say that? How
Why
would
not? If I had, then anybody can, because I'm as normal as anybody, right?
exactly that's what.
So yeah. So
Mm.
basically, as I said, as according to my experience, that's
Mhm.
what I told my son also. I told discover your passion.
Mhm. Right.
So he had passion into engineering and automobiles.
Mhm.
He is now in Germany doing his mechanical engineering, and he'll pursue his. So I told it's your life. It's individual life. I shouldn't be as a father or anybody or as an elder brother or telling him you do this and that. I mean, you have to make them understand and discover what is their passion, what is the things that make them happy, right? Finally, happiness comes through that only. So what you do,
Mhm.
and when you are happy doing it, and
Mhm.
then the happiness stays for you. I mean, with you long. And as I said, yes, everybody. I mean, I had fears. I
Mhm.
mean, so it's normal to have fears.
Not
Only
normal.
thing is recognize it, understand it, and
Mhm.
go ahead and do it. Unless you jump and unless you kind of do it, nothing happens. Even as athlete or as whatever, as a swimmer or whoever. I mean, even as a sports guy or adventurer. So
Mhm.
all these people follow their passion,
Mhm.
they overcome their fear, they understand their fear, acknowledge their fear, and then go ahead and do it. And as I said, if you kind of always be into this thing, is this going to make me happy, or is it? So suppose, like for an example, as I had a dilemma, and if many people have this,
Mhm.
again, one has to understand what makes you the happy. I mean, the most happy when you
Mhm.
do this, either this or that, right?
Correct. Correct.
And
Yeah.
you can make small notes. One has to really register it in small whatever your activities that you're doing,
Yeah.
and those small notes and those registrations will actually finally tell you, okay, this is something which I want to do.
Mhm.
Because if even I mean, I'm not against any counselors or anything again, but only you know what is inside you, right? So one has to go inside you
Absolutely.
and always check. You always take the support of a counselor or experts and all that, but
Mhm.
only you can decide what is your happiness.
No, very well said. That I think that's the transition that everybody has to go through is look inside yourself before even you go to counselors or any other person to understand yourself first. I think that's something that most of the people don't do that because it's the hard work, because it's like meditation or it's like meditating for some of the people to go inside and say that, okay, I want to see what I like or what it makes me happy. It's a big for most of the people, but actually in real life, it's quite simple, as you mentioned, quite simply mentioned that, you just have to look inside and see what makes you happy. Make notes, little notes will go a long way.
Yes.
And that's something is very powerful because people think, oh, why should I write? It's nothing. They just casual get away with it. But those are the things that you make real changes for yourself. I think that's very well
True.
said.
Yeah.
So coming to the situation of what you want to currently, the way you are in from the journey that you started, so you like painting and all, you still have that at the back of your mind and you still keep not that much, but you still. But you said one thing very interesting was the networking, that you keep interacting,
Yeah.
collaborating. That's what is very, very important, vital for all the listeners who are listening, because most of the people who are shy or who doesn't, they have got talent, but because of their lack of interactive and lack of networking, talking to people, makes them who they are currently. How would you describe that for you as a person? That because of that, you have transitioned yourself and dimensions of your life taken into different dimensions? Is that what we can describe?
Yes. So when I was a painter or when I started painting, I was introvert. I was quite introvert.
Mhm.
And I was majorly into myself, and it was not very easy for me to express what I felt or whatever.
Right.
But theater, when I started doing theater,
Mhm.
theater gave me that,
Right.
because theater is all about, coming out, and it's like emptying yourself at that point of time whenever you do those exercises or plays or
Yeah.
so that has really helped me a lot. And
Right.
that's why theater, because I'll tell you, Dubey ji, I mean, the man is no more now. He
Mm.
was and but he has created generations of you know artists.
Uh-huh.
He used to do workshops wherein there were some, say, 100 people
Right.
in a workshop, and he
Mhm.
used to do it free because that was his passion, right?
Right. Right.
But I think in 100, there must be some 40 people who must have, stayed in theater or perceived writing or whatever connected with theater or films.
Mm.
Rest 60% people who had gone into their professions have
Mm.
excelled
Right.
in
Right.
those professions.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's
So
really.
those techniques
Mm.
helped people
Mhm.
to come out, to understand, to, speak out, to
Yeah.
express. The
Yeah.
personalities change.
Mm.
So, theater exercises or theater techniques can change personalities,
Mm. Correct.
right? So,
And
that is
that's the
something
real
which,
thing. Yeah,
sorry?
that's a real interaction and real presence of
Yeah,
unseen
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Mm.
So those little techniques, and so they are with me, and I do workshops here also
Right.
whenever I get time. And that is something which, even I want to do, because that can not only for people who want to kind of, make their profession as actors or whatever, but it really helps you, kind of enhancing your personality,
Correct.
opening yourself, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what is Sandip Kulkarni's liking? What does he like? Theater, movies, or art? What does he like? What's your passion? Of course, as you said rightly, and for all the listeners who are listening, they might say, "Oh, can I do all these things? What Sandip ji is doing, or can I just do one thing? It's I'm struggling. How do I manage to do all these three, four things, or five, six things? What's your message for that? How did you do that? And how do you
See,
keep motivated with that? That's the main thing.
yeah. So because one is I have a very kind of a liking for life as itself.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
because
yes. Huh?
that's
Very-
wonderful, because we
Yes,
once you know
yeah,
that you have got a life,
Mm.
And that is where, people keep on forgetting, or people keep on missing,
True.
because they are so much
True.
into their work or whatever, that
Yeah.
they miss that they got a life. And so once you start exploring, it's a journey. So I still
Yeah.
say that my life is a journey, and it's an ongoing journey, right? So as I said, I'm coming with this YouTube channel on
Yes.
21st, and
Yes.
it is called Bade Aam. So it'll be in Hindi, so to
Right.
reach many people. And so
Yeah.
again, that is, Bade Aam means common people who have made big because of their thought process, whatever they have done, and whatever impact they had created, and then their experiences. So
Yes.
this is, also for people to get something out of those experiences, some perspectives that they will get in life. That is what I'm trying to do, which I got, right? This is how I was made. So for me, yes, I'm still so I would always call myself as a creator.
Hmm. Right. Yeah.
So whether it is, as I said, because I also work with writers to
Mhm.
develop scripts.
Right. Okay.
So
That's
young writers,
uh-huh.
because of my experience, whatever the media.
Yeah.
So I have also, so in the process, in the journey, I have tried to learn medium. So
Mhm.
being an actor is one thing, because that is your profession, but
Correct.
you're trying to learn theater as
Mhm.
a medium. You're trying to learn television as a medium, then you try to learn film as a medium, and then you try to learn web series as a medium,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like learning ongoing
Hmm.
with different mediums,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely. But I think what you said is very much resonates with me as well. And I think for most of the listeners who are listening, actually, what is life when we talk about, or what is creation when we talk about? And here we are talking to a creative artist, and what you like is create. Each time you create something, each time when you do something, you are creating, but also
True.
living your life. Also, you are living
Yes,
your life and recognizing that this is a life that has been given to you to do all sorts of things. And that is very powerful, that people probably need to understand in this conversation. I think it's beautiful to say that to recognize that there is a life that's been given to you, and there is an opportunity every single moment that has been given to you to create something for yourself or for others or for anyone. And that's the way what you are made up of, like so many things when you do. So the answer I've got to all the listeners is, you just keep doing things, but also understand that we are doing it because you got the opportunity to do it. Otherwise, if there is no life,
yes,
there is no creation opportunity.
absolutely,
So yeah, beautiful.
absolutely.
Yeah, I like this. So, with that message, I wanted to just ask you finally, like, so art, you like painting, theater, you have done, you name it and you have done. But also, to all the listeners, I would like to take this moment and say that, this is, you did not expect, like, what does people think when they do some work, but you have been awarded, you have been recognized, your films have done well, you're internationally acclaimed, nationally acclaimed, you have been awarded. What would you say to those listeners that, okay, that's, is it, that is awards, recognition, is, how does that pan out in your life journey when you look at back now? That was your aim, or was it really just happened that you did not aim for it, but it happened, but you had these intentions basically?
Well, everybody, I mean, even I wanted recognition. I also wanted to be registered. So
Yeah.
obviously the awards were
Yeah.
definitely
Well,
meant.
definitely,
And
yeah.
that, yeah, that certifies you that, okay, you have done something right, you're on the right way. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you have acquired something in life,
Sure.
right? Because that just gives you a feeling, okay, I've
Mm.
got this kind of, you know, I've acquired this kind of whatever experiences or
Yeah.
techniques or whatever, I've become this kind of, and but then after a point, I think that doesn't matter, because that
Sure.
follows,
Yeah.
because then your
Mm.
what do you say, your purpose is bigger, because then you want to
Correct.
always satisfy your
Mm.
quest,
Mm.
right?
Yes, yes. I think you right hit the nail by saying that your purpose is bigger. And that is what everybody should have that purpose is on a larger scale rather than just little things.
Yeah.
But when you don't know whether you will get award or not, but you keep doing that work with that same energy and
Because
same.
you're doing for yourself more than, of course, for others, but basically for yourself.
Yeah, because you are actually doing it. So
Yeah.
it is for yourself
Yeah.
in a way. So yeah, no, that's wonderful, Sandeep. Tell me something about outside the profession. What do you like to have? How do you spend your day in one day? We have got different seasons in one day, but how do you spend your one day every single day
Uh,
that comes along?
well, if I'm working or if I'm kind of
Mm.
into a project, then obviously there are a lot of
Yeah.
discussions, there are a lot of script reading, there are other, like suppose for an example, when I do this film, a biography,
Mm.
which I did the latest, which is on Mahatma Phule. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so since this man is from late 18th century, so
Yeah.
one has to understand, get into that era,
Correct.
start reading a lot, understanding those, even that language,
Mm.
and how they behaved at that point of time. So before the shoot or before any doing a play or actually the shows,
Mhm.
there's a lot of pre-work going on,
Mm.
right? So so that impact comes in a film because there's a lot of pre-work which is gone behind, right, to understand that and all that. And then when you, because you're mentally and your mindset is also completely focused and there, especially in this kind of project. But if it's a plain simple social subject or whatever, then it doesn't require that much of time.
Mm.
But other than that, when I'm not shooting and when I'm not kind of into a project, then I read a lot, I watch a lot, watch films, plays, I travel.
Mhm.
I like to travel, and I
Good.
like to meet people, kind
Mm.
of listen to music. So as I said, that
Mm.
things, it's, as I said, it's a process.
Yeah.
So for me, yes, there is a holiday, but
Mm.
it's not an holiday. I enjoy my holiday by, doing all this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Steve is, so that, as I said, now, because if you have, I mean, if you're on a job, then
Yeah.
there's a pattern,
Mm.
right? You wake up
Correct.
in the morning, go to your job, you have a monthly salary. But here, you have to keep on going. I mean, it's only you where
Correct. Yeah.
nobody can come and tell you, okay, get up and do this and whatever. So that's why is what I said. It's you have to, if you have that bigger purpose and if you have that
Mm.
quest,
Mm.
then you keep on going on. Like, so all masters, whether it is sports, whether it is artists,
Correct.
they do. So before match, they do a lot of practice.
So I'm going to come onto that Mahatma Phule role which you are going to do, which is one of the iconic and the most amazing human that was there in that 18th century, but it is still living in this century as well with his work and contribution that he has done. To get into that shoes, and I always like admired with your acting skills, with your acting talents, that we have seen number of roles you have played, whether it is a cop, whether it is a villain, whether it is all sorts of roles you have done in your life. But then walking and having those roles and now coming into a role which is the most different kind of biopic of someone living his life in this journey, in this century. How did you make that mindset transition that, yes, I'm going to do it? Or were you scared, or were you thinking that I will not live up to it? What was going on in that mindset of yours?
So when you this so I had done a biopic on Sane Guruji also. That was in
Right.
2005. Yeah.
Mhm.
So at that point of time, as I said, I was very young
Mm.
and less
Correct.
experienced.
Correct.
I had a lot of anxiety at that point of time, a lot of fear also because his students were still alive,
Right.
and they could have easily kind of discarded me because also I was not completely complimenting look wise.
Mm-hmm.
with that person. But here now, with all my experience over the years, and luckily I look a lot like him because the director had done a lot of morphing with other actors also,
Right.
with personality, with the
Mm.
photographs, and they came out with this that I look very much closer to Mahatma Phule with whatever the get up and
Yeah.
makeup.
Get up. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we tried different looks also,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it came to me. But yes, anxiety obviously it's there because, as I said, then it's a responsibility
Correct.
of kind of doing this person who was a visionary,
Mm.
really a visionary. In fact,
Mm.
before that, I think just give me a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
So before this rule came to me, I hardly knew like any other, you know, common people about Mahatma Phule, whatever we have read in history and all.
Yeah.
But when I got deeper into it,
Mm-hmm.
I got to know this man was real visionary. This man was, I mean, he was the person who could uh, figure out that at that point of time, he was also like any other freedom struggler. He wanted to be into the freedom struggle.
Correct.
But
Correct.
he suddenly discovered that are we capable of, kind of handling the freedom once you are, are you capable of handling the country on your own?
Correct. Yeah.
Because there was no education at all with the
Mm.
common people.
Correct.
The
Correct.
education was not reaching to the common people at all. And
Mm.
it was kept like that because the upper class wanted to rule, upper class wanted to control.
Mm.
And it is all, they were uh, there was fear of God, there was fear of all religion, because there was no awareness, there was no education.
Mm. Correct. Correct.
So
But that.
this man thought that this has to be done, otherwise we will never be the independence or never will be sustainable. We'll
Mm.
not be able to kind of. So that is how he got into this
Correct.
education, and especially women education. He and his wife Savitri Bai.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she was the first lady who stepped out of the house at that point of time when ladies were not, females were not stepping out,
Correct.
and
Correct.
actually they had to face a lot of, you know, uh, I mean, people's anger. People used to
Yeah.
throw stones, and a lot of things happened. But
Mm.
still, because their purpose was bigger.
Yes. Correct. And I think
I think
I want to
I want
mention
to.
here one thing about New Zealand is New Zealand was the first in the world to give the woman the voting rights and
Wow.
for elections. And this is,
Oh,
she was the first, New Zealand was the first country to do that, to give the woman's voting rights. And that's
oh,
something I wanted to mention here to all the listeners that India, if you look at then, so development of women's education was also instrumental from India, basically, as well, as you
oh,
mentioned. So it's amazing. There are so many things have passed, so many connections are there that we forget our history. And but to live that history once again, I hats off to you, Sandeep, to do this role. And we are just excited and waiting for this role to come in so we can definitely happy to promote here as well in New Zealand and would love to give that resonation. But yeah, we would probably do a like a seminar or something like a conference on that once that movie comes in, and we could possibly give that more motivational kind of visionary speech from yourself. We can invite you to do that in terms of the woman's development that was achieved by that person, that personality. Those
yeah.
husbands, which will be good.
Also, I discovered while doing this film, or while I researched,
Yeah.
which is there in this film also, that he was an entrepreneur at that point of
Oh,
time.
wow. Okay. Uh-huh.
So, yeah, to keep his moment, or Satya Shodhak moment, which he called, to
Mhm.
sustain that and to keep it self-funded,
Right. Right.
he was a big constructor. He
Okay.
had a big construction company.
Wow. Okay. In
Yeah,
that case. That's amazing, isn't it?
yeah.
So
So
these
there
are
are
the
big monuments which are still there now. I mean, which are still
right.
there. which has
Okay.
been built by him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we are now going to come to an end, Sandeep. We will probably take a last your message to all the audiences. Today, I was amazed to hear from you, but we will come back with some Marathi version as well to all the listeners and for all the Marathi lovers. We will bring that soon as well. But I wanted to ask you here finally, like, in your life, as you mentioned, so many things you have done, so many things you have changed your version of mindsets to achieve this, but also keep achieving because you are never stopping. You still say that you keep creating and you keep doing. And that's what is very inspiring because most of the people who are listeners, they think that our actors, after achieving, they don't do anything or they don't have to do anything. It's not like that what I can hear from you and what I can listen from you. So, what's your message to all the to keep going and to keep resilient and sustain yourself? What's your message to all the audiences who are listening to this life journey of yours, which is a real connection, a real experience of your own that you have shared with us? What's your message to all the audiences who are listening?
I still don't feel that I have become somebody who can give messages, but I can only share my
Yeah, share your views with
experience.
your
Yes,
experiences. That's what
yes.
I would say.
So my experience, as I said, which tells me and which kind of really convinces me,
Hmm.
even throughout, is discover your passion,
Hmm.
discover your happiness, because otherwise what happens is you're so much engrossed in your work or whatever you have built up that you forget to discover what you really want in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and many at point it comes to a point where you are really grown old and you suddenly you're retired and then suddenly okay now you want. But if you can discover it early,
Hmm.
then you have a life to live, right?
Yeah.
And to do what you really want, and then you can really inspire people because then that
Yeah.
whatever that inspiration comes from, it resonates, right?
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think with that, I wanted to just touch on that. So, the starting point, as you discovered and as you uncovered yourself, but looking inside yourself, you uncovered that, okay, you like painting, you wanted to do this, but then you went out, met people, interacted, and all of that. That point, first point of contact for people who are listening, what would you say that take that first call of yourself to go out rather than sitting home, or what would you say to those in that
So
context?
yeah, so everything has a first time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so many a times you are uh, caught with fear and you
Yeah.
don't do that.
Correct.
And
Correct.
fear, it's a very common emotion, it happens with everybody. So one has to understand that
Mm.
even people don't show but they do have fears, right?
Absolutely.
If
Absolutely.
you can acknowledge it and if
Mm.
you can just kind of still kind of take a step ahead and say that let me do at the most, what am I going to lose, right?
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
So if you take that first step, then that becomes your journey. If you don't take that first step, then
Mm.
you actually not on you're not on your journey and you'll never find your path,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, I
So
think that.
being you have don't accept that fear. Okay, you are, I mean, you have those fears, but still I'll do it. So
Mm.
what?
Mm. Nothing stopping you from feeling that, okay, I will not do that, because that's the one of the major part. Fear is one thing, and the second thing is that fear leads to that, oh, whether I will get what I want or whether I won't get what I want, whether I would expect what I want. Is expectation is the another aspect other than fear, that there is expectation, and there is
Hmm.
certain expectation that they are achieving or they want to achieve with a action that they don't know where it will lead to. And that's
Yeah.
something. How would that you describe? Because you have done theater, movies, but then you took that step. You had that fear, anxiety, whatever, but you still also the other aspect, which is the expectation or bare minimum expectation that I want after doing this, otherwise it's a waste of time. People generally say. What was running through yours to tell the audiences that, okay, first step you took it, but then also expectation, how important it is, or it is just not required at that stage. You just need that first step.
No, in fact, I would rather say you should have dreams, big
Okay.
dreams,
Yeah.
because I'll give you an example.
Mhm.
Before even doing, I mean, when I was doing theater,
Mhm.
and hardly I think I must have done my first film, Mammo, at that point of time or whatever, which was a small role or whatever.
Mhm.
But we used to, my very close theater friends, we used to watch Oscars,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And Oscar ceremony is in the mid of night, especially the Indian time. And
Mhm.
we used to stay awake and used to watch the Oscar ceremony. And that point of time, I used to try to acquire those films because they were on VHS, and it was not very easy to acquire those, which is now very easy, right?
Right.
But
Correct.
somehow we used to acquire, we used to watch a few films,
Yeah.
and we always used to say that wish sometime, we should be in there in Oscars. That
Yeah.
hard wish, that hard dream came true with my first film, Shwas only, right? It
Right.
was the
Right.
official entry for the Oscars, which
Mm.
was, and obviously when it was announced, I was like,
Mhm.
took me 2 days to believe, right?
Yes. Yes.
Something which I had dreamt.
Mm. Amazing, amazing. That's a good note to end, Sandeep, because we are
Yeah.
looking for more and more Oscars and more entry in Oscars and awards for you, and also wishing you all the best for this beautiful movie that you are going to do a life journey of a visionary Mahatma Phule. We can't wait to see that movie coming soon. So, to all the listeners, here we are. We're going to end this here now, but we will bring back with him once again in Marathi version as well. But also, I would love to have his contribution towards art, towards music, towards passion that he has created for the films and all. It's very important for all the listeners to understand that, no matter what field you are in, the message that he gave was very powerful to just look inside and actually keep living your life, because this is a life. Otherwise, there is no path if you don't take that first step. That life is not there. So just create your life because you have got the opportunity to create it. With that note, thank you, Sandip Kulkarni, for this beautiful conversation we had, an amazing life journey that you have been living and and still living and will keep living. And we wishing you all the best for all the future that is in store for you once
Thank
again.
you. It was a pleasure sharing my life.
Yes, yes, wonderful. Yeah, we try our best from our NZ World News to bring people and personalities like you who can share their real experiences and real wisdom. So I'm happy that you are on my channel, NZ World News. Anything you want to say for this channel, you can please go ahead and say. Otherwise, we will end here.
Oh, no, I'm really very happy because this was a very genuine kind of a conversation. Because
Yeah,
generally we kind of do a lot of interviews
correct.
and a lot of questions were asked, but
Hmm.
this is something which I'm very happy to share because this is something which I truly kind of have gone through and
Right.
truly kind of whatever little I have achieved that I've shared. Thank you.